Hey listeners, this is Mindful Talks podcast. Welcome to the fourth episode of hashtag Unlocking Content Treasure. Today, we are about to speak about a very, what we can say, a trending topic in the world of content writers especially. And especially like I saw this episode of KBC yesterday, and in that particular episode, this question was being raised as well. So now you can see how demanding and how trending this topic is, and I'm talking about writer's block. I have three special guests with me who are leading the content team of Mind Inventory. Before this episode, I recorded a very special episode with Nishan. We spoke about gaming, we spoke about what elements make a great game, and Disha and Kushali, you guys must be knowing, इनके साथ मैंने पहले 2 रिकॉर्ड किए हैं एपिसोड. So yes, we will be speaking about how to overcome this thing called writer's block. But before that, let's first understand what is this writer's block, because many writers have different definitions for it. So yes, let's start with Nishan.
What's up? Thank you so much for having me on your show yet again. Okay, writer's block. So according to me, the best part of writing is entering the flow state. When you're just flowing, the words are just coming to you. It's literally like the words are coming from a different place and you're just a tool that's typing out the words onto your screen or writing the words on a piece of paper. That is the flow state. And writer's block is the opposite. It's the nemesis of the flow state, in which even though you know what you want to write, you have the words in your mind, but you're not able to translate that onto a piece of paper or on your screen. So I have faced writer's block greatly in my career as a content writer. There have been occasions when I was like sitting in front of a computer screen for over 15 minutes and it's just a blank screen and I'm just not able to start. So procrastination also plays a part, and that's what my definition of writer's block is.
Cool. And there are also a lot of people, not a lot though, but like say for example 5% of people who say that हमको तो we don't get the writer's block only. So how do you take this? Like, do you guys have certain thinking like कि हमको तो like yes.
Alright, so for me, writer's block is something that, first things first, writing is not just about putting your words onto a screen or, as Nishan said, on piece of paper, everything. It's firstly about the thought process, how you take things, how you perceive things, and then put it into the words, or as I can say, convert into the words. Sometimes being a writer, there is a constant battle between thoughts which actually interrupt our creativity, and we just can't able to write, which is often being understood as procrastination, but actually writer's block has a different definition altogether.
Okay, so right now I'm also having a writer's block as the Nishant, and Disha has covered so many things, so I'm thinking what to say. But for me, writer's block is something like completely blackout. Your mind is completely blank. You don't know what is going on. Your mind is continuously confused about the subject and everything, like how to represent your imagination, how to put the content in the right place and everything. So it's just like I face it every day. I get a new content task. It's like like just before recording this thing, I received one content task and I'm literally feeling this kind of writer's block. So yeah, that's the definition for me. It's blank.
So yes, we spoke about writer's block. Now let's just understand and come to the conclusion like how to solve it. I know okay, there is no such mathematical formula behind it, but still what we have in our own box. So yes, first Nishan.
So I have two methods of solving writer's block. The first is, of course, it's not my own. It is something that I read. And to be absolutely honest, I just read it like 10 minutes before this podcast. So it's called the Pomodoro technique, which wants you to work intensively for 25 minutes. It doesn't matter what you're writing, just write. Just put words onto your screen. And then rest for 5 minutes and then reiterate. See what you've written and try and edit that. once you get this, once you follow this process, it becomes easier to start writing other things. And the second technique is again something that I came across last evening. It's really disgusting, guys, so there are females present, so I don't want to say it, but it's called eat that frog. It basically means do the most irritating part of writing when you feel like, okay, you're having writer's block. Write the most uninteresting, most irritating part of the content, and once you're done with that, you know that, okay, the rest is not as irritating as this piece, so I'm sure I can do it going forward. So yeah, those are my two techniques of getting rid of writer's block.
Perfect.
Okay, Nishant, I get your point, but the thing is, the first formula which you said is like just write. Actually, a few days back, when I read one article about just write, I think it's not the solution every time, like just write. Okay, you cannot just write anything else. It must have some logic and everything, right? So yeah, thought process involves in it, but when you are blank, it's probably the writing is something.
I think for me personally, there are two things I want to say. First is when I used to work in some different organization, the team leader used to say me that don't write. Whenever you get writer's block, don't write. Drink coffee, go out. Yes, independent. And the thing was like, even if I don't write for 3 or 4 hours, it's okay. I used to just read various random things. I used to read book reviews. I used to read comics, online comics, but I used to read whenever I used to get writer's block. It's like charging your phone. So first thing is that, and second thing is like, when you are not in your proper everyday, you can't write something different or something unique, and writers have this kind of certain ego in which they need to write something new every day, and तभी नींद आती है अच्छी सी. So the thing is like, this ego sometimes is bad for us only, and for that I used to be in different zone. Like I do listen a lot of BGMs, background music, while writing, and even when I'm not writing. Yeah, so to get into that particular zone, do listen music and do listen whatever you like. Even you can listen our podcast. You can listen Mindful Talks podcast as well. So yeah, this is my solution for writer's block.
But you know what? Sometimes it feels like ki, when you are getting writer's block, it's not about all content thing, it's also about a particular subject, so that at that time you want to escape that thing, or if you get another task, you can directly start working on it, but when working on that topic, you are completely blank, because that things happens with me every time. What do you say, Disha?
What I think is, writing is the mental effort, and writer's block hits you from every angle, like it does the firing like AK-47.
Wow.
तो मुझे क्या लगता है कि if you choose to write something else which is something that you love to, which is something that you really enjoy, but writer's block सब कुछ रोक देता है मेरे लिए तो, because at that time I'm just not able to put my thoughts into words. Actually, I would like to rephrase it. I am not able to think anything. So ये करता है writer's block मेरे साथ.
You have any desi nuska for it? Like how to overcome this particular issue?
भाई चाय पी के आ जाओ, मस्त हो जाओ.
Like for me it is like just अब वहाँ पे विंडो सीट है, विंडो सीट के बाहर जाके देख लो, ओके चलो what everyone is doing, and also like just observe the office premises. It also works for me apart from music. And when speaking of which, मुझे एक और क्वेश्चन आता है कि जब writer's block होता है तो कितने how long it lasts for you?
Well, on a serious note, we have got to deal with writer's block as we are professional writers.
Exactly.
So what I think के just वही तो नहीं सोचा अब तक.
I think Nishan has something to say.
So for me, writer's block can last 15 minutes. It can last 15 days. I just hope it doesn't last 15 months because that would be very detrimental to my finances. But yeah, writer's block doesn't necessarily have a time frame. I mean, suddenly inspiration can strike you and you'll immediately start writing something really interesting. So it's how do I put this? It's like the gray matter in our brain says, okay, बस अभी के लिए इतना हो गया, अभी जाके चाय पी लो, तब उसके बाद फिर सोचते हैं क्या आगे क्या करना है.
Waiting for inspiration, I guess.
Waiting for inspiration, yes. And luckily over here at Mind Inventory, there's a lot of inspiration. There are great teammates, there's great management. The office infrastructure is really good. और please आप मेरी salary बढ़ा देना क्योंकि मैं आपकी कंपनी के लिए अच्छी मैं हमारी कंपनी के लिए अच्छी बातें बोल रहा हूँ. और इस टॉपिक पे मुझे कभी राइटर्स ब्लॉक नहीं आएगा, कभी नहीं.
Also, we have a great content creator, Akash Shukla.
Yes, of
who
course,
creates
of course.
amazing reels
Of
and
course.
shorts. You guys definitely should check out.
50 रुपए दे देना प्रमोशन के.
Guys, that's the end of the today's podcast. We'll see you next time. Keep on listening Mindful Talks. No, we are continuing.
भाई मेरा बाकी है, मैंने अब तक कोई सॉल्यूशन नहीं दिया. My perspective is something I get to be pretty complex while I write. So it sometimes go vague, it sometimes look pretty creative, but I always try to write every single sentence with a different, or to be precise, with a unique approach. So उसी के बीच में writer's block आ जाता है कभी कभार. So what I generally do is I try to be as simple as I could, and I don't let the creativity enter and all those logical things are being put into words, and that's the end for me with that content. So no creativity involved while we are writing. Of course it will end up being logical, lekin when it's my favorite topic, it's full of creative stuff, it's full of different approach, and when writer's block hits me, it's full of logical and simple things which are often being understood clearly. So yeah, that's the writer's block solution for me.
Like it's our job, I guess. Like just stating facts, stating logics, and everything along with creativity. Like it should add everything that like grabs readers' attention. What do you say, guys?
I feel that this is a really good idea. I mean, I think Disha and Kushali just solved my issue of writer's block for me. Because yeah, if I'm writing something and I'm not being able to be creative, maybe at that time I should just mention facts, because I can mention these facts and then later on, once this entire process is done, I can add in creativity while editing.
I would like to add something, Nishant.
Yes.
As it's a writer's hub over here, I guess. So being a writer, the journey always let us come across that the very day when we are full of creativity. Like I have faced it many a times while I'm just up with some creative thoughts, मुझे बस लिखना होता है. So I feel it while I'm driving. So I have written my best piece while I was driving. So ये क्या होता है कि writer's block is pretty natural things, and it has its own impact on a writer. Whereas के while writer's block का एक antonym होना चाहिए that writer's creativity, जब हम अपना best shot देते हैं. So ये बहुत नेचुरल चीज़ है. सो वी हैव गॉट टू डील विथ इट एट द एंड ऑफ द डे, एंड या
I get that. Flow state achieve करने का.
Yeah.
Disha, also like I would like to say, as you have mentioned, like writer's creativity time. So for me, it's like early morning is the best creative shot for me. Like in that time, I write most creative things, and with much speed that the corporate culture expect us to be. Right? Mm-hmm. So what is your writer's creativity time? Disha, Nishant, Akash, I also want to know yours.
See, it actually has nothing to do with the time slot. मुझे कभी 3 बजे भी रात के कुछ ना कुछ सूझ जाता है और सुबह के, और कभी दोपहर में भी कुछ नहीं सोचता. So it's pretty natural. It hits you irrespective of the time we are living in.
Yeah.
So ऐसा कोई particular time slot नहीं है, I guess.
But we all can agree that morning and early
Of course,
morning
of course.
and midnights are the best time for writers to think and write. Right? Akash can understand it because he is the night owl, right?
Are you?
Yeah.
Rapper भाई.
So like just like I'll give a shout out to one of my inspirations here, like Krishna. So Krishna is a very famous rapper. So I'll tell you his own story. Like one day he was having a great writer's block, and he's like a masterpiece lyrical rapper. So the thing is, like, what he did, that through his writer's block, he made a song on writer's block. That he's not able to write, he's not able to inspire, he's feeling very useless, and he just wrote it. Though in organizations we can't do these things, but still a good or a mature content writer should always know the time limit. He or she should always know that when to get into that zone and when to get out of that zone as well. So I think the maturity comes into picture. Like, you can't just say in organization that today I wrote just 100 words because I didn't have the writer's block, and you can't continue this for 1 week, है ना? So you just need, being a mature writer, like if you are in this field since so long, you just can't say it. You should know how to overcome it, and reading, as I always say.
I guess keeping things pretty simple is something I always follow.
Yeah.
Like, don't put your mental effort at work. Like, just go with the flow, and then go with your editor's advice later. Of course, it will sound logical.
After all, we have to follow their lead as well.
Yeah.
Maintain a good relationship with editor
भाई हाँ, अच्छे संबंध बनाए रखिए.
and HRs as well.
So we can
सबके साथ इनफेक्ट यार.
right.
Nishan, anything you want to add in conclusion?
Or any like questions?
Yeah.
क्वेश्चंस तो एक ही क्वेश्चन था कि राइटर्स ब्लॉक सॉल्व कैसे करें, और उसका तरीका आपने मुझे बता दिया.
You know
So I'm really thrilled.
I'm really sorry, Nishan, for stopping you in the middle. But like for writer's block, I also suggest that do meditation.
Okay.
Meditation is not like sitting on the ground and you can do meditation by sitting anywhere, right? So exercise and meditation, those are also a good medicine for like getting out of your writer's block.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
sense.
We all can agree with it.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Makes sense. Yeah.
So I hope we are all clear with this podcast, and we have given a very good, insightful or advice kind of to all the listeners.
We hope.
Yeah. With desi nuskas and stuff. So yes, with this, let's end today's episode. A very different vibe, a very different kind of episode. I don't know how it went, but yes, it must be a treat for all the listeners. So yes, with this, keep on sending your feedbacks as well in our social media handles, and just do let us know how you feel about the podcast. And thanks to Nishan, Disha, Khushali for coming to this episode.
Thank you.
We made the most of this time. अच्छा है writer's block अभी नहीं आया.
And this podcast shoot was actually fun.
Wow, every podcast of Mindful Talks is fun, na?
Definitely. And it is like way different than other podcasts we are like listening in the tech genre.
Yeah. So we are the OGs, and we will be the OGs. So let's end this episode. So we'll see you in the next episode. Till then, keep on listening Mindful Talks podcast.